Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Good morning, G.
Hey, man. Good morning, Mikey. Just rolling in.
I know, right? The coffee shop is open for business.
So what do you want to talk about today, man?
Well, I can't believe it, but
Love having these coffees with you.
I know. We're at step 10 already. I can't believe that we're marching through these steps. I'm glad there's only 12 because summer's coming.
Well, some have 13, but we're not going to talk about the 13th step,
right? We won't talk about that. So, yeah, we're talking about the 10th step this morning. Glad you're here. But, we were talking before we queued up, and a couple things maybe we can bounce back and go to a couple housekeeping issues before we jump into 10.
Yeah, I love the housekeeping. So, we're getting some interactions on social media. We're getting some emails and stuff, and certainly appreciate that. Love it when folks reach out and just kind of say hi, and they critique how sleepy that we sound sometimes. But
I'm sorry, did you say something? I dozed off.
No, you're still sleeping. I know. But love to point folks to go back in the podcast library on the website, on wherever you get your podcasts from, and one of the first podcasts is called Behind the Counter,
right?
And it really just highlights what we're about, why we're doing this, what we're about, some structure, etc. Just a bullet point, a couple of them. We are trying, underline the word trying, to keep them to 18 minutes because that's the average length of time it takes to drink a cup of coffee.
You're so scientific.
Yeah, but we are not scientific when we go 23, right? So right. We're trying to stay to 18. Love the coffee kitty donations. Thank you very much. That helps support production. Mikey and Glenn get zero of that personally. Everything gets plowed back into production.
That's a fact, Jack.
And then we drop at 4 a.m. on Wednesdays. Our regular drops. And then we're doing some bonus drops. I guess that's the lingo, bonus drops on Sunday. And what we're trying to do is incorporate folks' people's stories, where they join us, either in the studio or dial in on Zoom but where they come in and share their experience, strength, and hope. And what a privilege that is, man. What a when folks come in and open up, to the entire world.
Yeah.
Kind of what happened, what they did, and what things are like now. And man, we're getting some powerful stories.
It's been great. I've been learning a lot, and we're fortunate to hang with a bunch of people who have some really strong stories of recovery and hope. And it's just been great having people join us for coffee to share that with us. And the other thing I want to mention too on that topic is Sober.Coffee. Not Sober.Coffee.com. Everybody's got anybody can have a .com address.
Everybody's got a
.coffee address. So Sober.Coffee on the web. It's got the resource room. It's got a place for you, like you said, to pop a couple bucks into the kitty if you're so inclined, and a lot of great resources.
Yeah, and the resources, there are stuff that we talk about here on the show. There's stuff outside the show. Some of it's 12-step related, some of it's not. Like to underline that everything's a work in motion, right? That's kind of our asking for forgiveness for not being perfect. But, so the website's, in motion. We're actually working on a potential sponsorship that's super cool. Can't wait to talk about that. So a lot of stuff going on. And then always shout out to Audio Hive, and our chief engineer, Brian.
He's all right. He keeps the coffee brewing.
Yeah, he helps make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
That's all right.
As I like to say.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Good stuff. Well, let's get down to step 10 since we've got it. Yeah. So step 10 says continue to take personal inventory. And when we were wrong, love this word, promptly admitted it.
Yeah, again, man, this whole program's built off words, and back when I surrendered, and we've talked about that. Back when I surrendered, I said, you know what, I'm going to listen to the words. You know, and there's people today in the rooms and meetings and stuff, and they point to the words, and they, you know, and we were just talking about this. You know, they sit there and say, well, I don't agree with those words, or I don't agree with that, or I would shape it this way, or I would say it this way, or phrase it that way, and I think that's dangerous, man, because as soon as you start doing that, where's the line?
Right.
That's Mikey, that's Glenn, that's Bob saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna impart my ego into this and my way into this, and I look at him, I'm just like, where do you draw the line? If you don't like those words, why do you like, you know? Because then you're making your decision for your own program. Right. So I love the fact that you point out the words.
Right. So what you're saying is, if you either buy into the program word by word or don't buy into the program. If you don't buy into the program word for word, then you're kind of short selling yourself.
Or if you're putting your words into it, then you're putting the same brain that got you into the alcoholism, that got you into your bottom, that got you into hell potentially, right? It's the same brain that you're using to mess up your program going forward and to mess up the solution.
That's a great base.
That's what I think.
Yeah, no, that's a great base. So continuing to take inventory, you know, for me, when I was drinking, you know, most everything was somebody else's fault, right? Most everything I did during the day left a path of some destruction. You know, I wasn't crashing cars on the left and right guardrails, but certainly I was leaving destruction. I picked and choosed what is that even grammatically correct? Choosed? I choosed.
Anything you say is right, Mike.
Yeah, right. There you go. No, but I would pick things, and for the most part, I never looked at what my role or what my part of that scenario was, what the role I played. It was always about somebody else, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Glenn. And so I never looked at admitting that I was wrong in any scenario. I mean, that was just a character defect of mine that I uncovered in step 6 and 7.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same thing, you know, that I never really took any personal inventory. You know, I went from, you know, start to hit my goal, and I didn't really care what happened in the middle. I didn't care what I had to do, you know, as long as I hit that goal. You know, that goal was it. You know, it wasn't how you played the game. It was, did you hit your goal? Right. And when I messed up or when I, you know, stepped in mud, you know, hey, I just said, hey, that's just a speed bump. I got to find a way around this. And you know, I didn't really care what I did to people. Right. You know, as long as I hit that goal, that was the whole objective. Right. But
didn't that fuel?
But that was then.
Yeah. Doesn't that fuel, that attitude, that outlook, though, fueled my addiction, right? Because I inherently I felt bad about what I was doing, and my only recourse was to blur that, was to numb that.
It certainly fuels the self. I mean, for me, it's fueled selfishness, right? I only cared about me. I only cared about hitting my goals. Everything else just didn't matter. So, and then my selfishness fueled my addiction, big time.
Right, exactly. So I, you know, certainly when I got to step 10, the good news is I had an understanding of taking personal inventory, right? Going through steps 4 and 5.
Yep, absolutely right.
Again, why they're done in order, right? I didn't have to redefine what taking personal inventory was all about. I did it extensively in steps 4 and 5. So this now is a maintenance step that is calling me to do this on a daily basis. And so that's a discipline that I've had to learn. And it doesn't just mean doing it once a day. For me, it means doing it during the day, multiple times during the day.
Yeah, but I think that's a process. And going back to what you said about steps 4 and 5, I mean, you know, I talk to so many people, and we hear in the rooms that steps 4 and 5, I mean, that's like takes, and steps 8 and 9, takes monstrous weight off of us, right? I mean, stuff that we've done our whole lives, how we've damaged people, hurt people. You know, we've recognized it. We've taken the personal inventory. We've understand, you know, our own ownership. And then we started cleaning it up with 8 and 9, right? We started making amends. And like you said, it's not saying I'm sorry. It's how can I make it right?
Right.
Which is totally different.
Right.
And then the way I look, and that's why I like the word continued, because it keeps that street clean, right? It keeps that weight off, so that for me, I live better. I live lighter, and I don't need to drink to escape all the shit that I've done and I'm doing in my life.
Right.
It gives me a tool to keep the street clean.
Right. And I liken it to a snowball. I know you're a big skier, but you start with a little snowball, and if you properly roll and pack that snowball, it gets pretty big. And so this continued to take personal inventory, and when we're wrong, promptly admitted it. It allows me to keep my snowballs rather small. I can manage a small snowball. I can't manage the bottom part of a snowman.
Right. So, as you know, we break these coffees up into 3 sections, right? Experience, sharing kind of where we were, what happened, and then, strength, meaning, what tools are we using in the sober gym, right?
Sure, right.
And then hope, meaning what results are we getting today, or what can we hope for tomorrow, right?
Right.
So, strength. What did you do? And I'm asking this kind of open-ended, but I'm probably gonna feed you here. You said something the other day in a meeting that just smacked me, and it was really good. I mean, I work with guys. I'm always looking for ways to improve how I work with guys. And you said something the other day in a meeting, and about when to work step 10, right? And hey, steps are in order, and that's what I preach to my guys and how I coach them and suggest to them. Hey, they're in order, and they're in order for a reason. But you said something the other day, and just want to chat about it. Is you said your sponsor had you do step 10 like right out of the gate, like along with 1, along with 2, along with 3. Let's start working on step 10. Unpack that for me. Talk to me about how that happened, what that looked like, kind of how some effects that you got from doing that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you first about the relationship I had with my sponsor. We had very clearly defined roles, and his role was to guide me. My role was to do whatever he said to do. And
sounds like a great relationship to me.
That's right. And the base of that relationship, the basis was that I was willing to do whatever he said as long as I never picked up a drink again, right? And didn't return to my old habits. So he told me if that was my desire, right out of the gate, he said, what you need to do is stop. You need to stop acting the way you were acting that caused you, these actions that caused you to drink and use. So yeah, his approach was, let's start with daily inventory. Let's make sure that we're not accumulating more garbage that we're going to have to deal with when we get to steps 4 and 5. We can stop the flow of water right now by crimping the hose. And it was great advice to me because even though I wasn't drinking, I was still acting and letting some of my character defects really drive my activity, which really was adding these guilt and remorse and all these emotions that concern me when it comes to my sobriety. Does that make sense?
No, totally. And I love that. Start working on that earlier. Because then you stop adding to the pile, right? Kind of sooner than later. When I was in my 4-month program, I heard somebody this week say, it takes 28 days to change your habits. And we've talked about this. For me, my inner brain, my right hand to left hand, it takes more than 28 days. And I was in this 4-month program, and we did page 86 of the big book, what to do in the morning, what to do at night. And we would meet every morning. There were 8 of us, met every morning at 7 a.m. and then every night at 10 p.m., which was late for me. But, hey, I complied. I surrendered. And then, at night, we review our day, right? And so that was started to be a very conscious effort because we went around the room and we told on ourselves, hey, first of all, did you do what you said you were going to do today? And then, hey, along the way, did you harm anybody? Mm-hmm. Did you offend anybody? Did you do anything that you need to say you're sorry for and make amends for? And we did that for 4 months. And I still do that today.
Right. So it created a habit.
It really created a habit. But then over time, again, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but over time, as I live throughout my day, and I say, hey, that's why, with this step 10, promptly, right? Mm-hmm. And promptly could be, instead of like step 4, 5, 8, 9, instead of doing it 20 years later, mm-hmm. Now I'm doing it a day later, mm-hmm. right? When I was looking at it at night and making my list, I said, okay, I have to go back to so-and-so tomorrow and so. But then as I started getting that routine, as I lived through the day, I started to become more aware and recognize in real time mm-hmm. when I was screwing up.
Right.
Right. And so then I, instead of waiting until the night to recognize, now it's happening in real time. And now, I say something offensive to my wife, and I have a couple examples. I'm not going to go into them, but they are good. Now I'm able to stop and say, hey, babe, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put it that way. I apologize. How can I make that right? And then the step beyond that is you just start living better so you make less amends.
Yeah, you don't want to have those conversations every night. It
right.
it loses its weight. I keep a bookmark, and I brought it in with us today because I knew we were talking about step 10, but just some bullets in my book at the end of my readings at night, and I ask myself these questions, and there's just 10 of them. But where was I dishonest or resentful? Did I say or do anything that would warrant an apology? Have I been worrying about yesterday or tomorrow? Did I allow myself to become obsessed about anything? Have I allowed myself to become too angry, too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Right? Halt. And do I suffer from any physical, mental, or spiritual problems? What steps can I take to do better tomorrow? And lastly, what do I have to be grateful for today? That's how I end my day, just by filtering my day through those questions. I found it really helpful. I picked that up from another guy in the program, and it's been very helpful keeping it in my book. I read it and just ask myself those questions again, just so that the snowball doesn't get any bigger.
That is super strong, man. I just love that list. I think doing it at night is fantastic, and it helps, clean out the mind, man. Just right. Clean up the street, clean up the trash, clean off the weight. And then you can have a very nice, restful, peaceful, nice sleep. Mm-hmm. I think that's great.
Yeah. One of the things I try to do, and I love how you said, you don't have to wait for the end of the night to do it. As a matter of fact, it's even a little bit better because you have an opportunity to clean that side of the street the same day and really hit that pillow with a clear conscience.
Yeah, but I think in the end, on the hope section, in the end, mm-hmm. if you're really committed to doing all that, it's a natural process to just start living better because of your awareness. Mm-hmm. You're aware of how you're living. And in step 6, worked on that list of 194 character defects. It's all a process to live better. For me, it's live a life that I don't need to drink to escape from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at people, places, and things differently. There's much less stress. Mind you, I didn't say there's no stress. Life is still stressful. I get that, and things are still going to happen, but it's just the way it's my perception because of looking in a mirror. My perception is so much lighter and less stressful than before. When I had a pair of glasses on that and looked at a picture that didn't include me.
Yeah, and when we talk and use the word peace, and the way I define peace is, just a point in time where everything seems okay, mm-hmm. right? And I think if you're aware of, the crap that's on the street, you're aware of, avoiding, living in those character defects. But hey, life is life, and stuff happens, and we are not perfect, and, it's progress, not perfection. right? Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, all those fun phrases, that when things do happen, hey, we have a process to say, hey, I didn't mean that. Right.
I love it. I love
but one last thing.
Yes.
Because I know your coffee's empty.
I got to go back up to the brew counter.
One last thing, and I love these words, to take personal inventory.
Oh, so I can't take your inventory.
You can, but then you'd have to, at night, you need to make amends for that. No, but it's so, lived my entire life picking out what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Picking out, sitting at the table and pointing out what was wrong with everybody else. And I never pointed the finger at myself. I never looked at what I did or took ownership for what I did. So I think that's important. Personal inventory, I think that's just a reminder that we focus on our own lives, not taking the inventory of others and pointing out problems with others.
Right. And the beauty is, if you work the step, really work the step, you go to bed at night and you feel a lot better about your chances for the next day. So
absolutely. And then, again, just to repeat what you mentioned, I think it's great to do it earlier than later. There's
no demerits.
There's no demerits in doing
jumping.
Hey, step jumping to 8 and 9.
Yes, that's a problem.
There's demerits for that.
Yeah, go back and listen to steps 8 and 9. That's illegal right there. That'll get you pulled over.
Right. But doing step 10, man, I love how you put that. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Mikey.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.
Stay safe in the city of Chicago.